I'm on fire.
I'm burning.
I'm tripping on LSD and
Pass
I'm
the
on fire.
LSD. I'm
Why
so
do you
You're
hot.
pass it?
probably
You were already high.
Ah.
you're you're probably wondering how we got here.
I'm on fire.
Well, you should check out part 1 of this video where we
David.
talked about the original 1981 and the book from 1979 of Endless Love.
David, are you
And
watching
now
I can probably
No.
stop doing that now.
you got we okay. Well, we tried to be cute. I think it was better when we practiced.
Go watch
I
part
don't think
one.
it was. I also knew it would end terribly. Hold on, I realized this paper is even more important than the one I used for practice, so I'm gonna straighten this out.
Oh no! All right.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for whatever that was. We tried. All right. We tried to be cute. Hopefully you did watch part 1. Card in the corner. Check it out really quick, just so you know what that was, what we were doing.
Hey, Zax.
And yeah.
Hey, Carina.
Hey.
My name's Bob. There. Now we've been introduced.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you. We're all still here.
Yeah.
And now we finished talking about, like I said, we finished talking about the 1979 book and the 1981 movie, and now we're talking about the remake that decided we can be better
And they
in
did it.
2014, starring Alex Pettyfer
And whoever
as-
Jade is.
As Alex
Yeah.
Pettyfer.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna real quick. This is a movie that's supposed to talk about the dangers of young love and overall like teenage impulsivity.
And then also kind of ventures into mental illness.
Very poorly,
Yeah.
but it does.
It doesn't venture so much as wander.
Yeah, it dips a toe
Yeah.
in mental illness. The 2014 movie doesn't really do any of that. Sort of. I don't know. We're going to tell you about this movie. And we're going to just start. So it opens up with David, Alex Pettyfer. One thing, this isn't really going to come up, but it is something that me and Carina noticed when we watched it. Alex Pettyfer usually is pretty good at like keeping whatever accent he's going to. Like in Beasley, he stayed whatever
I think they're in New
type
York.
of American
Bland
he was.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept it going. In the island, he's just British, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
he's
just...
got bland American.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Alex Pettyfer is like an English actor. So
This is something that's so funny. Like him, like not so much him, but I like with Tom Holland how like every role he's just American. I like the world just decided, no, you don't get to be British.
And he's like,
we don't
what do you mean?
like. We vetoed that. You're American.
but I'm not. I'm a little boy from England.
I don't know. This is a thing also that like they did with Doctor Strange, and at the time I didn't understand at all because I was like, are the comic book nerds really your biggest audience here? Like I feel like the movie going audience that just doesn't know who Doctor Strange is will not mind if Benedict Cumberbatch just does his regular voice.
I'm not like I will say I don't know.
Is it really so integral to the character that he was American before he became a magic user?
It's especially weird because, you know, like, the reason they used Tilda Swinton instead of, like, an actual Asian actor was because they wanted to sell to China, and there's some sort of weird issue there that I don't remember fully because it's been a minute.
I think,
but, like if you're already...
They're trying to not be disrespectful to, like, Asian culture, but then they were even more disrespectful.
By not casting an Asian
Well, I
Asian
remember
actor.
there's something, like, there... I think it was, like, actually, like... There, like, China was, like, not,
It's
like,
illegal to make a movie for Chinese audiences that doesn't have Tilda Swinton in it.
That's the law.
all right, we're not going to get into the real tea because I don't remember it. But there was, like, some real tea there, so if you're already going to rearrange some things, just make it in the UK.
I mean, even if you want to set it in the US, he's a British actor. I don't think anyone would have minded if he was just a
Just-
British
yeah.
guy in the
Just
U.S.
say he's an immigrant.
Yeah,
Problem solved.
Yeah, that's not uncommon.
You could even say he's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
We wouldn't mind.
Hi, it's me, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Instead of
as
calling it
Benedict
Doctor
Cumberbatch.
Strange, name it Dr. Cumberbatch.
Oh
Just
my
don't
gosh.
make the movie.
Make a movie about Benedict Cumberbatch
It's a
getting superpowers.
It's a documentary.
Oh my gosh.
Don't you think it would be really cool to have like a mockumentary where I'm just having this idea. Tobey Maguire gets
Oh, no.
spider powers and no one will believe him.
What
Oh my
year of
God.
Tobey Maguire?
Wouldn't that be
though?
really fun?
Are we talking like brothers Tobey Maguire? Or are we
I'm
talking
talking about
like
this year Tobey Maguire.
Oh.
He's
I-
my Spider-Man. He was perfectly good Spider-Man back then, and he's still a perfectly good Spider-Man now.
I would watch that.
That
Okay,
sounds
but
like
we're
fun.
getting so off track. But the reason I brought all of this up was because Alex Pettyfer, he can't help but let some of that British creep through every now and then with his lines. It just like webs and flows, and it's really
I'm sorry,
noticeable.
did you say
like,
webs and flows?
Yeah.
That's not the phrase.
What is the phrase?
Ebbs and flows.
We were talking about spiders, though. So it works. It's fine. Okay, so it starts off with Alex Pettyfer, and he's like, "Oh,
love you, Jane
there's
Butterfield."
something."
Can you do your Alex Pettyfer impression?
Do I have an Alex Pettyfer impression?
Just try to sound bland.
Okay. I've watched her since
Perfect.
the 10th grade.
You're making this is an Edward Cullen.
No,
Well,
no.
like,
Edward
so-
Cullen was always like serious. Alex Pettyfer's not serious. He's just not acting.
As someone who has like been watching the Twilight movies just as ambiance, so I've been constantly hearing Edward Cullen's voice. He sounds in pain with every line he delivers.
And
which
you know what?
sucks
That's
because his actor
still-
is actually a really good actor.
He's a very good
Yeah.
actor, and I think that's probably to do more with the character and the director.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Well,
if
you
Alex
know, that's-
Pettyfer had been in the scene, it would have been like, say it, say what I
Yeah.
am.
We're not going to talk about Twilight very much because we've already decided that's going to be a deep dish all on its
Oh,
own.
really?
But
Okay.
The whole
But I will
saga.
say real quick that I was in it, read the books, saw the movies. Robert Pattinson hated Edward Cullen, and he did an interview where he said, and I read like the script and everything, and he seemed like someone who hated himself. So that's how he played him, and that's why he sounds like he's in pain all the time.
That
So it's
sounds-
still
I have
good
another-
acting.
that sounds like a very legitimate reading of the text.
I have
Yeah.
another like really fun little factoid about Twilight.
Yeah.
So Stephanie Meyer, when she was initially writing the book, she based Edward Cullen off of Henry Cavill's character in The Count of Monte Cristo, and she really wanted him to be Edward Cullen, but by the time that the movies were being made, he was like 25 doing Tudors, so there was no way that like he was gonna do the movie. And for those who don't know who Henry Cavill is, he's Geralt
You're
of
bad.
Rivia. He is the Witcher. So imagine him the way he is now, being Edward Cullen.
I'm sorry.
And I'm just saying, this
I
man really
genuinely
don't-
thought Henry Cavill was much older.
How old is he? Hold on.
He's 36.
Yeah. So by the time, he was way too
Huh.
old for that role by the time Stephanie Meyer was like, please be in my movie. And he said, hell no. He said, hell
she
no,
dreamed a dream.
sis.
Oh my gosh. But like, yeah, if I ever made a book that became a movie, I would just cast Henry Cavill as everybody.
every
So I get
character.
the hustle.
Just-
I respect it.
Just him in
Okay.
different wigs as different characters. I'd watch it.
Right. Yeah. So we're in this, and you don't even know what's going on,
Yeah.
people. So let me just let you know. It's senior graduation. Now, remember, originally, the book intended for it to be a love between a 15-year-old girl and a 17-year-old man. But in this, they decided
That's a little gross.
odd. We're not about that in 2014. They're graduating high school.
So it's a little less yucky.
At 18, you kind of have a better sense of self, I think.
But not Jade
Then-
Butterfield.
No. So this is just to let you know, he got a best friend, Mace, and Mace is best boy.
Mace is one of the best characters in this movie. Everybody else is terrible.
Yeah, there's only two people who I guess technically three.
Okay, we made a list. So there's Mace, number one. Anne in the movie is just so sweet and wholesome. She's nothing like Book Anne. So, like, they really, like, did her a solid. There's Keith's girlfriend, who, like, is not plot relevant, but she's there, and she's really great.
Yeah.
And then
she's really
Sabine is the best girl in this movie. And then David's dad, who is not a communist in this depiction.
No. He's just a stand-up mechanic who loves his son.
He's just so Southern.
I'm here for it.
He's great.
So it's graduation, and Mace goes up to him, and he's like, "You still looking at Jade Butterfield? Like, girl like her, she doesn't talk to anybody. She's an ice queen." And he's like, "No, there's something there." Like, so
what?
These characters are so bland that the movie has to tell us, no, there's more to them, but then they don't show us that there's more to them.
The classic tell, don't show.
Exactly.
It's the old tell, then tell.
Yeah.
This is so weird because, like, everyone's had a crush in high school, and some people have crushes, like, for, like, the whole time, like, one person for all of high school. That's cool. But, like, it's weird because he's, like, I think it's weird when you don't get that you're, like, at that point, that crush is just whatever you've projected onto this person, because he has never spoken to this girl. I cannot be clear on that. They've never officially met. They've just been in the same grade. He's just been looking at her, and he's like, she's beautiful. Yeah. She's this. She's that. He does not know any of the this or the that about her. He's just made it up in his head. So take with that what you will. But then Jade, we do see... somehow he knew. There is a little bit more to her, because even though she doesn't talk to anybody, it's not for lack of wanting to. And we see that because...
my favorite scene in this movie.
this group of girls are taking a picture, and they're like, "Hey, you come take a photo." And then she's like, "Okay." And she rushes over, and she's so excited. And then they hand her the camera, and she's like, "Oh, I thought I could be in this photo, even though I don't know who any of you are."
I don't know your names. I don't know, like... who you are. These girls could have been in every class with her, and Jade would not know.
Well, the Amish, I don't know if this may be a myth, but the Amish believe that when you take a photograph of you, you lose part of your soul. Maybe she believes the opposite, where if she can get a photograph taken of her, she'll get a life.
Maybe.
Oh, that's so sad.
And but she did not get a life on that day.
She was denied. She was denied a life. So then, her and Alex Pettyfer sort of, they do, like...
I'm sorry, every time you say Alex Pettyfer, I just remember his bland face and his terrible acting. I'm so glad he didn't blow up.
You know what's so funny? We were talking about, I think he should have blown up, though. I feel like everything was lined up for him to blow up, and the world just for some reason denied him.
I think, like, the reason why we're like...
he should have.
I think the reason why we're like, oh, he can act, it's because he's playing the same character in every movie he's in consistently. So he just keeps getting typecasted as, like, pretty boy with no personality, and we're like, yeah, he's good at acting that way. But I think that's just him.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Alex Pettyfer, if you're watching this, no one else agrees with me, but I really think you should have blown up. I'm sorry.
You seem like an okay dude.
I'm sure he appreciates you also accepting that he didn't blow up.
Oh, now I feel mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying I feel like he deserved more than we gave.
Just Alex Pettyfer's just watching this in his, like, mansion.
Yeah,
just like a single tear rolled down his face. That's why I don't
feel bad saying he shouldn't have blown up, because he's still rich and successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is.
It's like,
he still gets work.
Yeah,
I'm just saying he's not a good actor.
Okay,
I've never looked at him on screen and believed he was the character he's pretending to be.
Oh. Maybe that's a good thing in this movie, because David is an interesting fellow.
No, it's not a good
thing. He's not an interesting fellow, though. He has no personality other than loving Jade.
and Jade has no
But let's
personality.
be
Yeah.
real. Well, let's be real. We've all met people whose entire lives are defined by how much they love their partner.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's true.
And
That's not...
that is such an abysmal life to lead.
So we'll put a pin in that because I definitely had thoughts along the same line when we get to like the montage part of it, but we'll just keep going. So fast forward from graduation, and she's rich. She's in a big fancy golf club, and Alex Pettifer and Mace are the valet. And
This is so different. This is similar.
It's fan fiction.
It really is. It's just AU fan fiction.
Yeah.
it's so weird because like one thing that in fan fiction when you do like an alternate universe, it's because the characters in the original work are so dynamic that you can put them in new locations and their being will just shine
that's
through.
the idea behind an AU. In practice, most of the time, they don't work like that. In practice, most of the time, it's like, oh, I had a completely unrelated story, but I want to just use these actors' appearances. So instead of coming up with new characters and describing them, instead I'm just going to come up with new characters and give them the names of people in a book or in a movie that I've seen.
Also, here's my OC.
You're just name dropping
Yeah.
instead of coming up with real characters.
Jade and her family are having a dinner together, and it is the most toxic and uncomfortable dinner, which happens a lot. I just mentioned a pretty toxic dinner in The Student that I did with Yella, Car in the Corner.
Nice.
But,
No.
What?
I'm suddenly realizing we're not going to get an LSD fire.
Oh no.
You're not.
You will get. I'm not gonna spoil it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, beans.
Oh darn.
So, this is not a poor family toxic fight. This is a rich family toxic fight. So,
Stocks and bonds.
Ooh.
So the dad, Hugh, is a super control freak. We see that because he orders lunch for his wife and daughter, like a Capri salad and a niçoise salad.
Did they want something
women.
else?
Well, we don't know.
Do
So,
they seem upset that he ordered for them?
Jade's not really
They
paying
look like-
attention because she's just lusting over David after meeting him 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the mom, they were both holding menus though, so they had it. It's not like they told him what they wanted and he ordered.
It's
for
not
them.
like the waiter came over and they're like, oh, what can I get you? And you look to your parents in fright because you forgot how to speak. And then they're like, oh, like they'll have this because you're nervous and you don't know how to talk to waiters.
You know, my ex-girlfriend from a couple years ago, we were going to like a fancy restaurant and she was like, hey, when we get there, will you order for me? And I was like, what? Why? And she was just like, I don't know, I thought that was a thing people do. And I was like, is it? Is it a thing people do? And I never did it because I felt really uncomfortable doing that.
There's placing your order for somebody where it's like, they're like, I'm too nervous to speak.
No,
Please help me.
she was not nervous. She was even more, she was very outspoken. She's kind of a character. I don't know. She just thought it was a thing to do at a fancy restaurant, and I was like, "Girl, you can order for yourself."
Order for yourself. Yeah, this doesn't happen in the movie because he orders like a salad and like a steak. So
Alex Pettifer's in this movie. They can't possibly have a competently written movie if Alex Pettifer's in it.
Oh my gosh,
It's
he's
his
gonna
fault.
come for us.
He's not going to comment on the video. Like, I'm very offended that you insulted my 2014 movie 6 years after it came out.
This is no I Am Number 4.
Okay, shout out to Alex Pettifer. Now I just want him to
shout.
Alex Pettifer is not going to see this, and even if he does, he's not going to care, because I guarantee he's heard worse things in the reviews to his films.
Zach's we were gushing over Henry Cavill 10 minutes ago, and you haven't given him a shout out.
Yeah,
Because he
Henry
doesn't
Cavill
need
is
one.
a great actor.
Yeah, he's excellent.
He's fine on his
And
own.
he's
He doesn't
also a
need
good-looking
me.
guy. I mean, look at him. He's choice.
So-
Just,
oh my gosh, it's so weird. I fell in love with him in The Tutors, which is like, is that the role to fall in love with everybody in?
Yes,
That movie?
no, you've seen him in
That
Tutors.
show
He's
was-
sexy as hell in that show.
He's just so classy,
He's
though.
so
I couldn't meet him.
classically
I'd be
handsome
like,
and
oh my
hurt.
god.
No, you really couldn't. You have no class.
I realized I'd be
You
like,
have no chill,
What's
no class.
the opposite of being knighted? Because I think that would happen if I even like brush paths with
I would.
Henry Cavill.
So, like, well, now that he's in The Witcher, there's like, oh, now you can like go and do like nerd PR stuff. So, hey, might see our man soon at convention.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. You know what, Zax, we need to just like review like one of his. Let's watch Count of Monte Cristo when he's just like 18 and in his prime. That's rude. He's in his prime now, but he was just a beautiful.
I don't think
young
there's ever been a time he had. Well,
Let's just
He
talk
did have like a
about
shaved
how.
head for a hot minute in Tutors, and that was a choice by the
Let's
directors.
talk about how DC betrayed
Oh
Henry
my
Cavill
god, I
in
could
a
talk
video.
about that
hang
for
on.
30 minutes.
Let's not
DC kind of betrayed Henry Cavill, but I think
Warner
the people
Brothers
who made him keep a mustache
I loved
betrayed
that.
him more.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, the thing was, I'm gonna go off on a tangent for a minute.
We're all way off on a
Yeah,
tangent.
this is welcome to Deep Dish, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to Deep Dish. Real quick, we have not really started the movie at all.
This is why
so
it took
continue.
Zax and I 4 hours to watch a 2-hour movie.
See,
You're-
last episode I was half asleep, so I was able to keep us on track.
not
Now
today.
you've infected me with your chaos energy, and I'm all over the place too.
But yeah, real
Yeah,
quick.
just a little real quick, just a little like behind the scenes work. We were discussing whether or not Bob would join us on this recording. His prime directive was to keep this boat afloat.
Yeah, I sank this ship. I'm sorry.
Okay, my last thing before we keep
I guess I
talking
just
about
hate Alex Pettiford.
we just don't want to talk about this movie. Last thing before we keep talking about this god-awful film. The reason why that awful CGI thing happened in Justice League was Henry was filming Mission Impossible 6 at the
yeah.
same time, which just, that movie is just excellent. He looked,
That's a cool
I
movie.
like
he looked so good in that movie.
Oh my
I wasn't-
god, he did.
I
yeah.
wasn't a fan of the mustache for a hot minute, but then I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Once you see him in, like, yeah, in a photograph, it's like, eh.
You're like,
but in
oh,
motion, he really carries
You're
it
like,
off.
you make this work. You look like a hockey dad from Moose Jaw, and I'm into this.
You look like a hockey dad from Moose Jaw that could snap me like a twig.
And I want that. Break my body.
My God.
We're gonna hear this.
Can I-
and just
Let
break
me
up
also,
with
this is the one last thing I want to say before, and this will smoothly transition us back. If you ever do get to meet Henry Cavill, I'd really like you to get on video you asking him this question. What do you think of Alex Pettiford's acting?
And he's gonna go, who?
He's gonna go, who? And that'll be the point. That is the point.
Oh my god. I so don't want to talk about this movie, but at the same time, I need to rip it to shreds.
Okay, so Toxic Dad orders for his wife and daughter because they are women folk and they cannot order for themselves.
Fair.
But then his son, middle child Keith, remember dead older brother, middle child Keith is like, yeah, I'm gonna have a burger and a rum and coke. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
And then the dad is like, you're only here from Arizona for a summer. Can you try to be pleasant? That's why I ordered the alcohol, Dad. And then Jade, like,
What the heck?
This family
And then
is
Jade-
so, like, in shambles.
and then Jade is like, I need some air. Because it's based on a young teen romance, they did everything in their power to keep Jade from seeming like a grown woman. Period. So, like, when she walks with, like, a skip in her step, her hair breezes about.
Whenever
she's
she
just
wears
so-
dresses, they're at her knee or longer.
her eyes are constantly looking so sad.
She's always in flats. She wears granny panties the whole film.
And that leads us to this. So she goes out front, and like the boys, Mace and Alex Pettifer, are valeting, and this guy comes and he like drops his keys on the floor, and then Mace
His
is like,
Maserati keys.
I will mention that Mace.
What?
He drops his keys on the floor.
It's crazy how like when you guys did the Camp Rock video, I was so lost listening in on that, and then like. I'm listening to this, and you have not, since you started getting back on the plot, you haven't actually deviated from the plot much, and yet I'm still more lost.
Imagine us trying to watch this, though.
Imagine them trying to make this.
So he drops the keys on the floor, and then Mace is like, "Hey, I'm not gonna pick your keys off the floor, or like what?
Get
not
me new
your
keys.
servant."
What do you
And
want to
he's
do? Pick them
like-
up.
And he drops them again, and he's like, "You need to earn the 3 minutes in my car." So then and then Mace is about to beat him up.
This rich white man is being very disrespectful to this young black man, and I don't like that.
It was very uncalled for.
Hey,
very rude.
remember, it was a different time.
In 2004.
So then Alex Pettifer's like, whoa, hey, give me the keys. And he walks to the thing, and Mace is like, still very mad, and rightly so. But then Alex Pettifer's like, hey, we should earn those 3 minutes, wink, wink. And like, Mace is like, oh, I get the cut of your jib. And then she's like, Jade is like,
doing?
You guys are you gonna steal a car? That's so bad. And then they're like, no. They're like, no, we're not gonna steal. We're just gonna borrow. Earn the 3 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And then Mace gets in the back playing a little matchmaker for his boy, and he's like, Jade, get in the car. She's like, what? I couldn't do a thing that's
Oh my god.
taking action in my life. And he's like, Jade, get in the car. So they get in the car, they're like, woo, our arms in the air, there's music blasting.
I'm just gonna lie down.
This is the first 10 minutes of the movie.
How?
How? So they're joyriding, and then I just
this part?
The music, like, for everybody else it's still blasting, but for us it gets a little quiet.
Basically what happens is that the movie like focuses in on this particular moment where like the wind blows and we can see the top of her thigh, and she's like, oh my god. But then Alex Pettifer focuses on it, and he's like, oh
like I see you. Yeah. And
so then Jade's like, oh no.
Is that a surprise that she's hot?
I don't know.
You can tell someone's hot by looking at them without...
Oh no, I saw a little bit more of your leg that I could see before. Oh no, you got dress coded.
I guess.
Yeah, it's... So then, what's his face? They go back, Joyride is over.
They got some burger.
They got fab. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's important to note. So they go in, and their boss is like, what are you doing? People have been freaking out because they still are valet. People were still arriving in the middle of that. And they were like, oh, we just didn't want his car to get parked in. Alex Pettifer was trying to clean it up, but the guy is like, no, I want him fired. But he goes straight to Mace, and Alex Pettifer's like, well, first of all, I'm the guy holding the keys. You just went for him because he's black. Yeah. Anyway, it's my fault. It's my fault. He's like,
If anyone's gonna disrespect black people, it'll be me.
Oh god.
Because I'm Alex Pettifer, not the character. I'm Alex Pettifer, the actor, and I hate black people.
Oh my god. See, before we were just kind of being like mean, like, haha, Alex Pettifer can't act. Now you're just going for character assassination.
For libel.
That's a quote. It's on his Wikipedia page. It says right there. It shows a picture of Alex Pettifer. Or he's so lucky that it would show a picture of Alex Pettifer on his Wikipedia.
Just Alex Pettifer and like...
There's a quote that reads, I hate black.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay. Back. I'm sorry, Alex Pettifer. Don't sue me.
Stop apologizing.
We're gonna get sued.
No, I'm gonna get sued.
Hello, Alex Pettifer's publicists. I would like to clarify everything that we are saying is satire. It's a joke.
No, what I'm saying is my opinion.
Oh no.
Bob, don't blow this for us. I'm too young for jail.
I can't go to
I'm
prison.
gonna go to jail.
If I'm going to jail for anything, it will not be character assassination.
Anyway, people. Anyway. So then Alex is about to punch, and Alex punches the guy, and then his boss is like, just get out of here. Y'all are fired.
Just go.
And then, but before that, really quick, I just want to mention that I guess they got like a Fat Burger sponsorship or something, because the guy is like, you ate Fat Burger in my car.
I don't think Fat Burger's a place.
Jade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Fat Burger is a terrible name for a place and wouldn't exist in real life.
It's a real place.
Oh, it is?
What?
What? Oh my god,
a real
it is.
place.
Why?
I've eaten it. I feel like my family's eaten at Fat Burger
It's
before.
definitely a place. Oh no. Oh,
Anyway.
Okay, low key, like their food looks good.
Let me look at this.
It looks like In-N-Out.
By the way, I am actually laying down.
I have two shifted to laying down.
I'm very precariously placed, so I could not lie down if I wanted
no.
to. There, he's like, you ate Fat Burger in my car. Jade's trying to help,
like, no,
and she's
I
like,
did.
And then Mace comes up and he's like, no, I ate the Fat
It's a
Burger.
real a real like I'm Squidward moment, you know?
Yeah, he really like sells it, and then
I definitely thought you were gonna say I'm Spartacus, but you really went with I'm Squidward.
Yeah.
All right.
So then,
Really shows something.
Really shows the cultural impact of SpongeBob for Gen Zeds. Also,
Yeah.
yes, I say Zed because I am in Canada.
yay!
You know how much it hurts me to find out that you think we're in different generations?
We're not. I'm just saying.
I went to Spartacus. You went to SpongeBob. Apparently, either I'm not part of the generation or I didn't have any impact from SpongeBob.
You're just
thought
more.
we
You're just
were
more
millen-
advanced than me.
But I thought we were millennials and she's a Generation Zer.
How old is she?
I'm 21.
Oh, Christ. We are a different
Oh god.
generation.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm a boomer.
Oh no.
No!
Okay, boomer.
That was me disappearing into the void.
Oh no.
It was funny because I was
Into
like,
voice
ooh, I'm a
starring Scarlett
generation.
Johansson, Asian American actress. Oh,
Asian American icons of our time.
Oh,
Scarlett
number one.
Johansson.
Tilda
Oh.
Swinton.
Tilda Swinton. Who's that one chick who was in that one?
Bjork.
Supposed to be- What?
Bjork she looks a little bit Asian, but she's not.
Who's the one who was in Spider-Man and also it was in that...
Emma Stone.
Yeah, Emma Stone.
Oh my god.
Asian American
I'm
icon.
half Hawaiian, quarter Chinese. No, you're not. You're a ginger. We really don't want to talk about this movie.
But one thing that they discussed over Toxic Lunch before Jade went to get air, she asked her, because they were like, we've been trying to figure out what to get you for your graduation. She's like, I want a party. I want to have friends. I want to be out there.
I want you, my parents, to make friends for me.
She's like full Quasimodo over here. And so... So before all the chaos ensues, she invites Alex Pettifer and Mace to her
I
party.
like how we've given
Now,
up on
fast
calling
forward-
him David. He's just Alex Pettifer.
Well, yeah,
It's-
it wouldn't,
wait,
be,
we
it wouldn't be a Kind of Friends video if Zax wasn't misattributing names.
To be fair, in the LOL
forgetting
video,
who they are.
in the LOL video, card in the corner, I refuse to call Debbie Moore by her character. She's just Demi Moore throughout the whole movie.
And I refuse to respect Alex Pettifer's career.
Fast forward to the party.
Oh god.
Can we just fast forward to the end of the film?
No.
No.
Okay.
So it's the party, and her dad, it was supposed to be, like, she invited her friends from school. None of them came, just her parents. Stuffy friends came, and Alex Pettifer comes. And then she's like, oh, finally, someone my age is here at my graduation party. Which, by the way, that is so weird. And she's like, I'm
Wait,
sorry,
why is that
Alex.
weird?
that she threw a graduation
weird.
party like the night of.
And it's all her parents' friends are there.
It's like
Yeah, that
She
was
has
what
no
my
friends.
graduation party was like. It was awful.
I didn't have one. I just like went
Not
to
one of
Yuvia's
my
house.
friends was there.
Aw.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Just one.
Okay.
Then it's just a play date.
Even though my parents aren't Jewish, I also had a bar mitzvah.
I don't even know what's real anymore, but can we
That's
just...
not a lie. That's true.
You had a bar mitzvah?
Yeah, and again, none of my friends were invited.
So okay,
It was
so
just my
just
dad's
tried-
friends.
Were they just trying to network?
Maybe.
So yeah, so Jade's party is just an opportunity for her father to further network. So
Yeah.
somebody
I get
shows up.
that.
Somebody shows up. So there's a lot of so the people that show up to the party initially, his work friends, we don't care about them. But then there's a lot of focus put onto these two characters. It's Dawn and her husband. Remember Dawn. Remember her for later.
Yeah.
So then Jade's like, oh, nobody
so
came to the
Alex-
party.
Yeah, so Alex Pettifer is there, and he's like, okay, let's fix this. So it's so funny, because it's like, being quirky, he dons his British accent, and he calls the police to file a noise complaint. The reason nobody came...
Hold on, Alex Pettifer fake dons his real British accent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so...
It's on
It's
track.
like... I'm playing a character who talks like this. Oh, let me try putting on a voice. Hey, this is me putting on a voice.
Why did you just
and
go
it's like,
to, like,
it's
Man,
so...
it sounds so weird
like-
when I talk like that. Ha.
Okay.
Steven.
Real quick, clearly that is why Alex Pettifer should have blown up, because they knew that was a wink to the audience. Apparently people were coming for him.
They're like, oh,
So-
I'm British. Can't you tell?
I mean, people were coming for him, but I'm not saying he was a good actor.
So anyway, before we get off... Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin on the trimming room floor with this. So,
It's called
back...
the cutting room floor.
This is the trimming room, because like trimming,
There's not a
this
lot
movie
you can cut
no,
out,
listen. There's not a lot you can cut from this movie, because there's so many opportunities where you notice that like the crew didn't care. They're like, whatever,
So,
people
like-
are gonna watch this movie regardless, because there's so many like little mistakes that I've noticed.
Yeah. Oh, right. About like that pizza.
Yeah, we'll get to the
Yeah.
oh yeah, before he comes to the party. So so his dad's like an honest mechanic, right? They don't have like a big fancy house, but like, you know, they live comfortably. So his dad, I think his name's Henry. I don't know. He's just dad. So dad's in the kitchen. He's like in the kitchen at the microwave. He opens the microwave and he sees Alex Pettifer coming out, and he's like, "Oh, hey, like before you head out, do you want a piece?" And he's like, "Oh, like he's warming up pizza." But the pizza he takes out is a, like, small, single-person pizza. It's circular. It's not a slice of pizza. So what piece is there to give?
Yeah, I can't come up with an excuse. That's just horrible.
Yeah, like, Zax and I, as we were watching this, again, this is why it took us 4 hours to watch a 2-hour movie, we're like, this isn't, like, you can tell that the crew was like, oh man, we forgot to like order a pizza before. Oh, what do we do?
Or get a prop pizza.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever.
Like they couldn't even like
Get some. I mean, they might as well have gotten Totino's pizza rolls. Like, who cares?
McElroys are in the back, like Totino's. Great.
So yeah.
The only reason anyone's watching this movie is for Alex Pettifer and like
And
the
Totino.
model chick, and like they don't care about plot consistency or that the dialogue matches what's on screen. Just put a salad in his hands. Who cares?
They couldn't even
He pulls out
like,
a single cherry tomato and says, "Want some pizza?"
They didn't even bother to like pick a different food that could be cut into pieces like lasagna. No, they picked a single pizza that you can't cut into slices.
But also, they could have just cut it in half, so when he's taken out, we just see, like, a piece of something.
Remember, consider, in the alternate evil timeline where that's what happened, we would be complaining about how it's a psychopathic thing to do to take a single-serve pan pizza and cut it in half. Because you would be an absolute psycho to share that with someone.
So, oh god. So
You monster! You eat that thing whole! You unhinge your jaw and swallow it whole like a snake if you can!
You
oh
god.
weird
I just remembered the rest of the scene. I remembered the rest of the scene. So Alex Pettyfer comes out and he's in like a suit, like a full suit. And his dad's like, "Oh, where'd you get that suit, son?" And Alex Pettyfer's like, "Oh, I found it in your closet." And his dad's like, "Oh, cool. Great." And he's like fixing his tie and it's like a nice father-son moment. But then Alex Pettyfer goes, his dad goes, "Oh, your mom bought me that suit." And Alex Pettyfer goes, "Oh, for what?" And then his dad says, "To get married in." And then there's this silence for like a good 10 seconds.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. So then Alex Pettyfer, he goes to the party. Jade is like, "Oh my god, people my age are here. Like, I'm so glad you made it. Like, thank you so
everybody
much."
shows up.
And
the party's
and we
packed
find
now.
we find out that the reason that nobody came to her party, even though she did invite all of her, like, their class, was because there was another graduation party going on.
An even
So
better graduation party with LSD and fire.
Yeah, that's the kind of party I want to be part of.
Woo!
So Alex Pettyfer, he dons his British accent and he files a noise complaint on that party, and then he calls Mace and is like, "Bring everybody over here, please. I'm trying to win this girl."
Why didn't you just light the party on fire?
That would have been more eventful, but this movie...
That would have been more accurate to the story.
It would have been more accurate because it's an event that happened.
This movie just didn't care.
So they're all coming at the party, and like the dad is like, "What young people in my home?" He's like,
here?
And then, but the mom is like, "Oh great, look how happy Jade is. This is what she actually wanted."
Yeah, not for you to network with your business partners.
And Dawn.
Now hang on. I'm looking at the cast list for the 2014 film, and you did not tell me Bruce Greenwood was the father. I forgive everything he's done. I love Bruce Greenwood. He's a great actor.
Well, he's a very good actor. He plays his part well. He's just a monster. We're gonna get into that. He is very talented. I'm very glad he got him. Also, the guy who plays her brother.
No. Hang on. You just said two things that contradict each other. He's a very talented actor, and I'm glad he got into this movie.
Okay.
Those are opposite ends of the spectrum. One of those is a compliment. The other one's a punishment.
Everyone needs to pay their dues.
You need to make money somehow, okay?
So, real quick, while we're talking about actors, the guy who plays middle betrayed child Keith is the same guy who was in The Purge, and it's really weird because he's just like a stand-up nice brother in this, but I keep thinking of "Let Us Purge," which is like, and it's his face. It's what it lends itself to, not being like a nice. Yeah.
Just
man
like when
to
he
your
talks,
sister.
his upper lip like doesn't move with the rest of his mouth the way it should, and it's kind of distracting.
I'm looking. Okay, first of all, he's Australian, so maybe it's because of the way he's doing his American accent. But looking at the picture they have for him on Wikipedia makes me think of those Charlie Kirk memes where his face is too small.
Okay, so back to the story. So the party is kicking. Keith is like, "Oh, sis, you're gonna love this party," and he makes this activity where there's random songs that he put in a hat, and every couple pick a song, and then they'll dance to it. I
compared this to when you're having a sleepover with your friends, and you're like, "Okay, let's like choreograph dances." And then you set your parents on the couch and you make them watch you perform your Toxic by Britney Spears dance while your dad doesn't pay attention and your mom watches horrified.
Yeah, that's literally what this is.
Like.
That was my whole childhood. I subjected my parents to so many performances that they did not want to watch.
I hope you love your parents.
I do.
My parents wouldn't have put up with that.
I do. Thank you, Kathy.
So they have half an hour to do this challenge. Alex Pettyfer and Jade are obviously coupled up. They walk outside and they sort of start talking. She spins around twice, and then this guy comes out. And he's like, "Hey, you guys, 10 minutes left. What have you guys been doing for 20 minutes? We saw you walk outside here. Were you just trying to pick a location?" But anyway, it doesn't matter. We see all these people dancing. Mace dances with this girl Gwen to Salt and Pepper. They're bringing it.
It's so about them. The movie should have been about Mace and Gwen.
Yeah.
We created a
And, like,
whole
I'm
other
just gonna.
movie where, like, the movie's the
Yeah.
same up until that point, and then, like, it just follows Mace and Gwen through, like, them just having a cute relationship throughout the summer.
Just a complete misdirect.
Yeah.
So, so then everyone, like, Mace and them, they did like a fun, like, wild dance. Everyone does like a fun, goofy dance. Like, they're well choreographed because, like, they still probably hired a real choreographer, but like, it's still very in the spirit of fun. In comes Jade and David, and they do like this like slow like tango. He like
Not
dips her
okay,
and he lifts
not
her in
even.
the
Okay, you're
air,
giving it
and
too
like
much credit by calling it a dance. What they do is they stand on opposite sides of, like, I'm going to call it the stage. They stand on opposite sides. They walk towards each other. They walk in a circle around each other. He puts his hand out. She goes, "Ah, no." And then they walk around again. He dips her once. They go back to the other side of the stage. She runs up to him, and you think I paused this when we got to the scene, and I'm like, Zax, what do you think she's gonna do next? And Zax is like, I have no idea. Now, what you think is gonna happen is that it's gonna be one of those, like, don't put baby in the corner type of things where, like, you jump and, like, the dude lifts you over his head, and you're just like, wow, look at me, I'm such a good dancer. What this clown does, she runs up, jumps into his arms. She's standing like you do a pencil jump into a pool, but she's put one leg up, so she's like a flamingo.
You've lost me so. You guys
Throws
lost me
her
like
hands
5
up
minutes
into the
ago.
air, and she's like, It's the most disappointing, like, jump into somebody's arms and strike a pose thing, and everybody in the audience is like, wow, oh my god, that was excellent.
Okay, can I just summarize by saying it seems like they probably had something much more dynamic planned, and then the actors couldn't do it, so they just went with
that.
this.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really shows.
that's-
What I do like is that this is an accurate portrayal of, we had 10 minutes left to choreograph something and we had nothing.
Yeah, none
Yeah.
of us are dancers. We didn't bring anybody in, so this is what
And
we
it-
think dancing looks
This
like.
is what the cast came up with, not the the choreographers. Alex Pettifer and whatever her name was. They came up with this
Yeah.
themselves before they said action.
Yeah.
was improvised.
So then, after that,
At least you don't see them mouthing words to each other like, okay, and then I guess you could do this.
Well, that
like,
would have
in
been
the
fun.
shot. That's I think the only way this could be less professional.
Like, they really
I
tried
guess
to
if
make...
you know what? There are other ways it could be less professional. For instance, if they didn't have a tripod.
Yeah. It's just shaky cam the whole time. Like, I was so ready to see this Dirty Dancing little reference where it's like, oh my god, wow. And then it's not. And it was so upsetting.
yeah. So after their dance, and everyone's like, wow, you guys really did it. So they go to the broom closet to make out, and then her dad decides,
Now is
like,
the
because, like,
perfect
the
time
power
for
went
a
out.
toast.
Oh, yeah, the power went out in the middle of their dance, so they rushed to the broom closet to make out. And then the dad is like, wow, I guess, like, our house just wasn't ready for all these fun guests. But really, thank you guys for being here. I want to make a toast to my daughter, Jade. And he says all this stuff, like, about how much he loves her and how proud he is of her. Pan to Keith, looking sad and dejected. Pan back to Dad, saying, hey, Jade, where are you, Jade? Come out, hun. And then she awkwardly comes out of the broom closet, and then Alex Pettifer comes out too, and I'm like,
And then Mace goes, oh
that
no.
is- and like everyone is there and looking and sees it, and so like the dad like plays it off, but he is like clearly like very bothered. But like, Alex Pettifer, why didn't you just stay in the broom closet till everyone
There were so many
dispersed?
ways that, like, that could have been avoided. She could have just come out by herself and said, Alex Pettifer, you stay here until people are not here anymore. And she could have played it off like, sorry, I just got a little overwhelmed, had a little bit of a panic attack, but I'm fine now. Here I am. I was just dissociating in the
something,
closet.
like-
But because this movie doesn't care, they didn't do that.
So then after the party is over, like, Jade is like on a higher cloud, and like the dad is like, I'll walk you out to Alex Pettifer. And he walks him out, and he's like, well, you should go. And Alex Pettifer's trying to like befriend him, and like she mentioned earlier that dead brother's car hasn't been running because of the carburetor or whatever. And so Alex Pettifer's trying to like make a connection with the dad. He's like, oh, I heard you trying to get the car to run. And he's like, would you try to steal it if I got it running? And he's like, oh, right, the valet. That was just a one-time thing, sir. But honestly, like, I really like your daughter.
Even though I just met her.
And like, she's amazing.
I would gladly let Bruce Greenwood walk me out of the door and insult me to my face. What a champion.
Just Bob from the Steel Donut. Don't try and steal my card. You just be like, oh, yes.
Thanks, Bruce. I needed that. Have a good one.
You
Mr.
have like
Greenwood.
a regular. You have like a regular cameo subscription to Bruce Greenfield, or like just every day he just
insults you a
calls
little
you
bit.
Checks
to
in,
insult.
insults me, and then stops.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, good morning, Bob from the Steel Donut. Just wanted to remind you, don't steal my car. All right, thanks. Have a good one. It's an insult sandwich. It starts off with a nice introduction. He says something mean, and then he's like, all right, have a good one. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. So then he's like, yeah, all right. And so then, like, the dad comes inside and he looks at Jade. He's like, that was some party. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to go to bed. He's like, okay, see that you do. And then she's like, okay. And then as soon as her dad walks away, she slips back past him and she runs outside. And I don't really know the geography of this house because this was confusing because Alex Pettifer already started walking. And now we see him walking up on cars.
Just a
and,
real
like,
bit.
the house was, and she... Okay, the door was behind where Alex Pettifer's walking, but somehow he walks to the cars, and now Jade is in front of him, and they make out, which doesn't seem to...
Here, I'll explain it real quick. Alex Pettifer is notoriously slow.
He just
Everybody knows that he's very, very slow. Incapable of moving at reasonable human speeds.
like he's got flat feet, so it's hard for him
and
to like
Gabriella
walk
Wilde
fast.
is ridiculously fast.
She's just all leg. I don't know if you've seen her,
She's
but like
mostly leg.
she's just got legs like up to her rib cage.
Yeah, like imagine if a human body had no torso at all, and instead the arms came out of the sides of your head and your legs came out from the bottom of your, like under your chin.
Like how I used to draw people as a child.
Yeah, exactly. But she is still normal human height.
Yeah. Oh god.
So
And she's
her
like
legs
6 foot
are
too.
just
She's
this
really tall.
gangly mess of sinew and muscle and skin. And it's kind of it looks kind of good in isolation, and then you see that it doesn't connect to anything human, and then you go, oh, never mind.
Oh no. So she mashes her face against him. And she's like, oh,
The way
thank
God
you for this
intended.
night. Yeah. She's like, thank you for this party. It was great. And he's like, ha, I'm Alex Pettifer.
I'm Alex Pettifer. Yeah, imagine that. That's how the dialogue goes. She's like, wow, this party wouldn't have been so amazing without you. Smooch. She pulls back and he just goes, haha, I'm Alex Pettifer.
To the camera and then leaves.
So then,
Like the speech at the end of Cats.
oh no. Okay, so then the next day, because he doesn't work as a valet anymore, he's working full time at his dad's shop.
He was already
and
working
he's
there
under the
too.
thing-
Like, did he shift from like
Yeah.
part time to full time, or was he just working 2 jobs?
I think it might have just been like he works at the shop on the weekends and then he's a valet the rest of the
Okay.
time. I don't know. But that they don't tell us. But
The movie
who
doesn't
cares?
care.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Actually, that was just Alex Pettifer's actual skill set as an auto mechanic.
Valet car fixing.
Because if Alex Pettifer weren't an actor, air
Quote,
quotes
unquote.
around that, he'd be an auto mechanic.
Okay,
Which,
do
like,
I
is
have to
honest job.
rechange the title of this to like watch Bob roast Alex Pettifer for 20 years?
It was gonna be Endless Love is bad, but it's just Alex Pettifer is bad.
No, we can make a whole different video about Alex Pettifer being bad.
Yeah.
Oh no, you got more than you've given. Okay.
We haven't even talked about I Am Number 4, Beastly, what's that other movie?
He was in
that
like
we-
In Time, wasn't he, with Justin Timberlake?
He was a guy in time, actually. He was a
I
gangster.
forgot about that!
Oh,
The Island!
he's so not relevant in that movie.
We can just work through his whole IMDb page. I don't care.
We just write a whole essay.
And
about
this was his start. He started when he was 4 years old, and he was garbage at the time. Bad child actors. It's terrible.
Oh God!
Okay, please.
And then
I'm
we'll
dead.
just do a Henry
Okay,
Cavill
so-
episode where it's just us
Yeah,
being
where
like,
it's
God,
Henry
we love
Cavill
him.
is heavenly.
Oh God! Oh, I realized recently that like I recognized him from something before because I remember going to like a movie theater to watch like a movie with Yuvia, and like a preview for really bad Batman versus Superman. They did Zack Snyder. He made a mistake, but I was like, why do I know this actor? And I realized that I remembered him from a movie that he was in when he was like really young, about like some lady falling out of the sky. And she's like, I'm a star, and he's like, I'm Henry Cavill, all right. I'm like, oh, that's
I
what
wish
you're
more actors would use "I'm actor name" as a line in the movie.
That's why we need like more mockumentary films, because it would just be that.
So, okay, that was lovely. Back to this movie that y'all are trying to stay away from.
It's bringing me
This is
physical
bad
pain.
when, again, reminder, Bob was supposed to keep us on track, but I lost both of
You
you.
lost,
And
you
now,
lost me back when you started talking about the movie, and I got so confused I had to lie down.
I think it's just
And now,
the-
anytime you hear me go really quiet, it's because I'm just zoning out.
I think it's just like the deep dish energy. Like there's no way
it's
to avoid it.
contagious. I'm holding on to the wheel of the boat, and it's not attached to anything, but I'm still
Yeah,
trying
you're
to
only
turn
on the wheel
something.
of the boat, and we've crashed the car.
We're in the back seat.
We're not even in the right vehicle.
Okay, so he connects Jade to come over, and then he's got something to show her. Then she's playing a chess game with her dad, and like honk honk. And the dad freaks out. He's like, "What's going on here? What are you doing? Get away from that car!" But
'Cause he thinks
Alex
he's gonna
Pettifer
steal
got it running because he had the right part. And Keith is happy. The mom is happy. They were like, "We never thought this car was gonna work
Yeah.
again. That's amazing."
Did
You
no one
literally.
try?
Okay.
It's-
If
Like,
all it
okay.
took was the right part,
Okay,
then you
here's-
just get any competent...
Here's a plot point that like is kind of like addressed throughout the movie, but like not in great detail. So all of Chris's stuff is like untouched. It's like it's referred to as a
okay.
museum by Keith. So the dad's really protective over like all of Chris's things, like all
That
of
makes
his
more sense.
yeah, like all of his records. You can't play them. You can't really go into his room. The car is completely off limits, and like now that it's not working, it's like, oh well, there's no point. Don't touch it. So he's
Yeah.
hanging on to the memories of his son, but in doing
Sure.
so, he's like stuck in that.
Okay.
Like
That
Hugh,
sounds like...
Hugh could
Yeah,
have
I
been
mean, the
a really
alternative is that the cast and crew just happened to be filming when Alex Pettifer actually fixed a car.
good. Yeah, like Hugh could have. To be serious for a second, Hugh could have been like this really complex character, but the movie does him so dirty and making him like completely like
Shallow.
irrational
Yeah.
and just bad.
I'm a businessman.
I'm a business doctor
My name is
man.
Bruce. Hi, I'm Bruce.
So
Me,
real quick. Yeah, so Alex Pettifer did free manual labor for them, and then the mom
That's
is like,
not
"Oh my
manual
god!"
labor. That's technical labor.
Yeah, he does.
Well-
He uses his trade skills to fix a
Yeah.
car for free.
To make them happy, and then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, stay for dinner, please! Like, we need someone like
We need some
it's so
positive
weird because he's so
vibes.
serious." But yeah, they keep talking about like how he like breathed life into this family, but like he doesn't like
He's just there.
portray that at all. But anyway, the dad is like, no, he should go home.
He's all
and then
stinky
Alex
and
Pettifer is
sweaty.
like, Alex, this is what's so weird about the whole movie. The whole time, Alex Pettifer gets everyone's approval basically over this relationship, but he's trying to like really like earn the dad's blessing. But the dad is just like not gonna meet him like any direction at all. So everyone is like, hey, stay for dinner, wash up, and then he doesn't wash up at all. He's still in the same rags he was using on the
Yeah.
car.
He
But
might
then
have
he stays,
showered.
and they have.
But he's still in his stinky, sweaty clothes. I would like to think that Anne, being the angel she is in this movie, washed and dried his clothes for him, but we don't know.
Actually, Bruce Greenwood is such a hard man, she could just splash water on him and then iron them directly on his chest, and it was fine.
There should have been a scene of just Hugh just like coming out of like a pool or something, and he's just
In a business suit.
I was gonna say just like no shirt, just looking like a real snack, but a business suit would work.
I mean, he's Bruce Greenwood. He would still look like a real snack.
He's a very handsome man. I'll give him that, and he's a good actor. I need to watch some more things with him in it.
Yeah.
He plays such good dads.
Well, not in this movie. In this movie, he's a terrible dad.
He does his best. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
Not in this movie. He's an awful dad, but he plays an awful dad really well.
He's allowed to have a couple stinkers.
Yeah.
You know who's run out of his budget, though?
What?
Alex Pettiford.
Oh, God.
He's run out of his stinker budget.
Okay. So,
Dax is real quiet.
back to this movie.
So it's dinner
I
time.
was still talking about the actors in the movie.
So it's dinner time, and we don't know what they're eating.
It's.
What do you mean you don't know what they're eating?
So,
It's like table food. What sort
Well,
of
yeah, table food
Mediterranean
is what it's called when they have food
like
on a
tapas and like
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's purple potatoes, like a nice like you know
so,
the
yams or something.
No, like purple potatoes.
No, the purple rich potatoes, the roasted ones, the ones when you're wealthy, the ones you get at Trader Joe's.
So they went to Trader Joe's for these potatoes. See, like the crew cared enough to go to Trader Joe's to get purple potatoes for this scene, but they couldn't bother to order a pizza from Papa John's for Henry. Oh God! So purple
these were,
potatoes.
like,
it's Little Caesars or bust.
Okay, so yeah, so they,
That's the budget they have.
So Trader Joe's purple potatoes, arugula salad, maybe steak with nothing on it.
Okay, that doesn't sound as nice.
Yeah, like just unseasoned steak. We're like, yum, okay. Like
at least it's not like from a playset.
yeah, like real white people cooking.
Yeah. So then,
Ooh,
like,
that's
they
got
all
black
have.
pepper on it. Spicy.
Ooh.
So then they have dinner and they're talking, and somehow it turns into love. And Alex Pettiford is like, he's like,
What turns into love?
Well, Bruce Wakefield's like, so you going to college? Where, like, what are your plans? And he's like, oh, I don't think I'm going to go to college. And he's like, oh, well, not everyone can make it. He's like, oh, well, like,
I got like a something.
He's like, I took my He's like, no, because he said I took my SATs, but I don't think I'm gonna go to college. And he's like, oh, well, not everyone can make it. You know, SATs are hard. And he's like, well, I got a 2090, and everyone's like, wow, wowzers.
So Alex Pettiford is smart in this movie.
I mean, he's not that smart.
So, yeah. So
I'm just throwing it out there. I got a better score on my SAT.
So, anywho, so then he like owns the dad at every turn, and he's like, no, I just like, I just don't think I'm going
There's
to.
more to life
I don't
than
need
school.
to like make a lot. I just want a simple life, a simple, beautiful wife to come home to, and I just want us to have the love that my parents had.
I just want to live a nice heteronormative nuclear family life.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, that's nice, but there are not less romantic things to think about,
like taxes,
like
mortgages, while his wife is sitting right next to him.
And it's weird too because like his dad is a mechanic. It's already been stated he's going to own the shop one day or run the shop one day, and like mechanics make money. They're not like, I don't know what I mean, yes, they're not going to get a mansion, but also she's going into pre-med. She's going to be
Brown.
like a heart surgeon or something. So like,
and at the end of the day, these two idiots are going to die, and they're going to leave a bunch of money for her too. So
yeah.
Like, have white people has this movie forgotten that that's the way white people stay rich?
Fast forward to dinner's over. David pretends to leave, but he sneaks back
they have
with Jane.
They have a letters to Juliet moment where she's like up on the balcony and she's like, oh wait, you should stay. We should talk about Letters to Juliet too, because that's a great movie.
Oh,
It's no,
gosh.
actually, it's really good. Anyways, but yeah, so she's like, "Wait, David, stay," and he's like, "Okay." She's like, "I'll keep my light on," and he's like, "All right, I'm Alex Pettifer."
All
so,
right, I'm Alex Pettifer.
so they sneak back.
That signature line of Alex Pettifer's.
So he sneaks back into the house, and Jade's like waiting for him in this like Victorian nightgown in like the family like sitting room, and the fireplace is
everybody
crackling.
knows that's how white people dress.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I'm like,
When it's
if this
time for
movie were
bed.
realistic, she would have been in like a dumpy t-shirt from a camp that she went to in 7th grade with Christmas pajama pants that don't match.
What are you talking about? No, she's a rich white person. That means she has a butler on standby at all times, powered down in the corner of the room.
Oh, another thing. Okay, this is another point that Zax and I focused on a lot in the initial viewing. Her bra straps are just out constantly, and it's really, really distracting because, like, you know that, like, an actual, like, rich mother would be like, put those away. You look like a floozy.
Yeah.
You need to present
I
yourself
don't know,
nicely.
my mom didn't really mind if my bra straps were out.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just your mom.
We can't use your family as a case study for anything.
No, because like my mom would do that with all three of us. She's like, "Oh, your bra strap is showing," and I'm like, "I don't care, Mom. I'm 14."
So would my
Yeah.
mom. And so I don't
So they're
know.
they're just out in every scene. I'm like, Jade, come
I want
on.
to make it clear that I didn't wear a bra.
I know
Because
you.
you guys didn't really roll with my joke.
I mean,
you
if
just
you
kind of insulted
no, I know.
your family.
No, no, I was like, I know you're joking, but I'm like, you know what? If you want to wear a bra, you absolutely can. This is to anybody listening. You want to wear a bra, go for it. If you don't want to wear one, go for it. Take the risk of going up and down stairs with no bra. Be brave.
Live your life. Okay, so she invites him upstairs, and they have a weird slow canoodle that's like trying to be
Again,
romantic.
Alex
They
Pettifer
do-
notoriously slow.
Yeah.
Every canoodle with Alex Pettifer is gonna be slow.
It made me think
my
of that scene from The
God.
Notebook where they're like on opposite sides of the barn, just like getting naked, and they're just like they're looking at each other. But I'm like,
I forgot how weird that movie is.
that scene goes on for too long, especially like that just like initial undressing scene. I'm like, why are you so
Yeah,
far away
that's
from each
fair.
other?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong on that. So then, like, the next morning they wake up and he's like, what are you doing every day for the rest of the summer? And they do a montage where it's like, we're so in love. But
love
it's just like
you.
them, like, trading kiss. They're just changing scenery. Like, we're on a bike together, smooch. We're running through the water.
Hang on, you can't
with-
just throw that out there. You can't both be on a bike together and riding and kissing.
Yes, they can, because she's sitting on the handlebars and she turns around, like she turns her head.
And they give a. They don't make out. It's just a quick
Little, like,
smooch
"Mwah, I
there
love
because
you."
that's not safe.
Focus
Then-
on the road.
Yeah, well, you know what?
They go. They run through sprinklers with some ethnic children for some reason.
Jade. They're like at like a park. They're at like a little. I
No,
wouldn't say a
see,
water
they're
park, like
trying
a
to
sprinkler park.
experience- They are trying for a moment to experience what it's like to be colored.
Exactly. They're trying.
They're like,
It's
is
very
this what
weird.
is this what children of color do for fun?
this what
Let
the
us
poor
attempt
do?"
to run through the sprinklers.
just like
It's very
just
weird
these
because
sweet
it's
little
like
children just trying to have a nice time at the
And
park,
then one
and
white
this film
person
crew
leaned to
rolled up.
another. And then one white person leaned to another white person and said, "This is because they don't have running water at home."
God. And Alex Pettifer is like, I'm Alex.
Haha, I'm Alex Pettifer.
so then
They go to an outdoor concert, and it's really difficult to tell what like the music genre is because there's somebody with a trumpet, and then there's like a band that looks like they play alternative, but then they're like,
That's ska.
But then
You're
they're-
describing ska.
but then they're dancing like they're at Coachella. So I'm like, what show is
That's
this?
ska.
But it's also weird too, just because like we don't hear the band performing.
There's just
because
this like
over
really
this has been a
awful
pop
song from like 2013
montage
playing.
song. So like then now what we've seen, like her checking a calendar, she's got to go to her internship, and then the dad is like, "You're leaving for Brown," and then she's like, "No, I want to stay with him. I can change my mind if I
Okay,
want
no, you
to."
forgot something major. So they get home from this show, and again,
Oh,
like
right.
a good 30 seconds with no dialogue. So they get to the front of her house, and of course she lives in a gated community. So there's like a big gate, and she has to input a
Wait,
code.
a gated community or a gate like a gated mansion?
Definitely both. Like it's a gated community to get in, and then it's double gated because they got that money. So they
That
walk.
way the other rich people can't.
Yeah,
get it.
exactly. So they walk up her driveway. They wait outside the gate. She hugs them goodbye. She inputs the code. She opens the gate, goes in the gate closes as she starts like walking up the rest of the driveway. But then she has a moment of realization and she turns around and she runs like a 12-year-old. Because that's
She does that a lot.
she runs like a child, and I'm like, please act your age, ma'am. You are 17. And then she like sticks her head through the gate and she's like, I'm not going. Tell me not to leave. And Alex Pettifer is like, what? She's like, I don't want to take the internship. I want to stay here with you for the rest of the summer. And here's where I need to stop for a second. So
Yeah.
this internship at a hospital for like, it's something for her to put on her resume, and it's something for her to have with her while she goes through her pre-med program. It's basically a field placement that she's doing. So she's working through the summer. She's getting field experience, and then she's going to go into her pre-med program, and she's going to take that experience into med school so she can like have an easier time there, and so she can get in. And she's like, no, I'm going to throw all of that out so I can hang out with this boy that I met 10 days ago.
Yeah, it's actually a lot bigger than that, because a lot of times those internship programs transition you through through a teaching hospital to just working at that hospital. Mm-hmm. She's basically acquired a post-degree job out of high school.
She's set.
By getting an internship. It's going to take a long time and a lot of work, but that was true regardless. Having the internship is a very, very powerful tool in her tool belt.
Yeah. Her dad got her this internship. He's like, I've talked to my colleagues. I've talked to, like, people that I used to go to school with who are in the field now. They'd be willing to take you on as an intern. So, like, her dad worked really hard to get this position. She worked really hard.
Hang on, remember, 1%, they don't work very hard.
All right. He was just like, hey, Phil, can you, take my daughter as an intern? And they're like, yeah, sure. But Jade also probably, 1%, she probably didn't have to work that hard.
Well, the dad says he pulled a lot of strings. So maybe even though he's high connected, they still didn't want his daughter.
Yeah, they were still like, this might be a bit of a conflict of interest, but, like, we'll go to an ethics review board. We'll, like, figure this out. So it probably took them a minute to, like, get this set up.
So then, like, I think the weird thing, too, though, is, like, Mace is kind of a party guy, and, like, they have nothing going on. They have savings. Why couldn't... What would have been an forget the work, because who cares about the original work? But, like, it could have been
Clearly
something like...
Yeah.
It could have been something like, hey, well... That's so sweet that you want to spend the summer with me, but we can still do that. But, like, you do your thing. Me and Race have always wanted to take a road trip anyway. We've got some money saved. We'll drive up. He'll bring, like, his current girlfriend or whatever. We'll get an Airbnb or something, and we'll stay up there. You do your work, and then afterwards we can hang out a little bit.
Or they could just,
not if you're
Skype
tired.
every night and be like, hey, tell me about your day. I miss you. And that'd be cute.
So, like, there are so many things. She doesn't have to give up her dream. It's so weird, too, because when we first watched it together, I had to, like, look back at the text when I looked at, like, the clips or whatever. And I thought the text was, what are you doing every day for the rest of your life? Which I thought was really creepy. But why are they putting so much stock in the summer? Like, you're not dying.
You're 17, 18.
Wait a bit.
Ladies,
and see each other
ladies, I can fully explain this in a single sentence. Any woman that wants to get with Alex Pettifer has to give up everything.
Oh, how did we miss that?
It's one of his prerequisites.
How did we miss that, Zax?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
God, we're just
he
silly
requires
ladies.
that of his lovers.
So she gives up on the internship, and her dad is like, "This man is tearing our family apart. We're going to the lake house."
Your Bruce Greenwood is very interesting. This man! Like, you went for, like, a Shakespearean thing.
Like, he's a Canadian actor, Zach.
He thrives.
But yeah, so here's another goof that I noticed. So she's unpacking her bags, and he's like, "Can you tell me why you're unpacking?" She's like, "I just don't want to do the internship anymore." And he's like, "So this has nothing to do with David, right?" She's like, "No, of course not." And he's like, "All right, then, like, talk to me. What's going on?" And she's like, "Okay, maybe it is about David." The line is, like, he sighs. He's like, "Oh, sweetie." Or he's like, "Oh, honey." But he, like, flubs the line. So he says, "Oh, Swanee."
Yeah.
And they left that in.
It was like he was gonna call her sweetie,
but changed his mind halfway through.
But he's supposed to say honey. I think the line was he's supposed to say honey, but he started to say sweetie, so he calls her Swanee.
And they left it in.
And they didn't let him do another
like,
take.
so many little
They
mistakes
were all
could
out
be
of cassettes because they filmed this on a crank recorder.
filmed on an iPhone 7. Like, this could have been fixed if the director was like, "Do it again."
iPhone 7 would have been ahead of its time in 2014.
Yeah.
This was filmed on an iPod.
An iPod Touch.
So he's like, so they have the flub, and he's like, David's ruining our life. We're going to the lake house. And she's like, "I don't want to go to the
I
lake house.
want to go to my white
David."
person lake
And then-
house.
And then Anne, the mom, is like, "Hey, she's just trying to live her life. She was shut out for all of high school because of the tragic death in our family. So, like, she's just trying to live a little. Like, yes, she's blowing a big opportunity. Maybe she will regret it down the line. But honestly, she's grown. It's her decision to make, really. So, like, just let her be happy now."
Her mom's being
As
fairly
someone who's
reasonable.
wasted his 20s, I'm 100% on the dad's side.
Yeah, I definitely
And-
agree that this
yeah.
giving up the internship was a mistake. But at the same time, y'all are really rich, and it's very clear. Since,
Yeah,
like,
you could
let's
just
fall-
set up a fictitious business name and just give her a business, and she would just
She can just
make
launder
moolah.
money.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not a big deal, because, like, she's still going to college, and, like, your connections aren't ending. You'll still get her a different
Yeah.
job at a different hospital, or this hospital.
you
Or
will at a
no
hospital.
job at all.
Yeah.
Just set her up with a trust fund and call it a
Yeah.
day.
But yeah.
So, like, whatever. She is giving up a big opportunity, but they're rich, so who
Yeah,
cares?
it's fine.
But then she invites David to the lake house, and he's like, "This was supposed to be a family retreat." And she's like, "Well,
It's like, well, Keith invited his
invited
girlfriend
him-
Sabine, and I love Sabine. She should have been in this movie more.
She has, like, no
She has 2
lines, but she's
lines.
just really supportive. She's very supportive of Keith and his very sad relationship with his father.
Oh, Keith. Okay, so another thing. So Keith, I imagine that he was just doing like, I don't know how American schools work, but like, you don't have to like have a major first year, do you?
You can,
No, I don't think you.
yeah,
You could be
you can be undecided as long as you want.
Okay.
As long as you're paying.
Okay, so Keith, so at that dinner that they were having, Keith is like, "Oh yeah, everybody, I have some good news. I have chosen my major. I am going for a degree in communications," and everyone's like, "Wow, that's great, good for you." And then,
That's not. Oh wait, no, I'm forgetting. I know nothing can ever be compared to my family. If I decided to go for a degree in communications, I would have been excommunicated.
yeah, that's basically
Well, the dad is not
what Q
pleased.
does. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I
but
don't even know what
the dad probably
communications
didn't load a
is."
gun. He probably didn't just like, okay, time to execute my son.
But yeah, so Keith has picked a major, but Hugh does not approve, and he's being real smarmy about it. He's like, "Oh, communications, that's silly." And then Keith is like, "All right, thanks, Dad. Makes me feel really good about myself."
Yeah, and then, so that happens, and, like, they leave, and they go party. They meet up with Mace, who hasn't seen him
No,
all
you missed a
summer.
whole bunch of stuff.
This sounds like
tried
Zach's.
to-
It wouldn't be a Zach summary if she didn't miss
Yeah.
vital details.
So yeah,
We don't need the whole
okay,
movie.
but yeah, so
We didn't need any of the movie.
So Alex Pettifer shows up, and he's like, "Oh, I brought you some flowers," and he gives them to Anne. And one of the flowers is just a straight up dandelion.
His thing is cars. He doesn't know anything about flowers.
He's like, "I look pretty," and Anne's like, "Aw." Alex Pettifer, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. And she's like,
Oh, thank you for this cow food.
thank you for bringing these weeds into my house. But yeah. Oh, so before Alex Pettifer shows up, Hugh was like, oh, does anybody want to go swim in the lake? And Keith and Sabine are like, no, we're leaving. We're going to town. And then Jade is just being mopey, and she's like, no, I don't want to go for a swim. And then Anne, like, she, like, lovingly puts her hand on him, and she's like, oh, I'll go swim with you. And he's like, I changed my mind.
What? Not if it means having to hang out with you. No thanks.
No. Ugh, gross. So then they go to the party, I think. But then as they're, like, going to the party, so there's another scene where Anne is, like...
Hey, wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
How far into the movie are we?
Oh, God, maybe half an hour.
Maybe halfway.
What?
No, we're not half an hour.
Maybe 45 minutes.
We're about half. We're about halfway through the movie. The movie's like an hour and a half long.
There's
We're
like just
about,
like, at some point nothing happens, so we can probably skip a bunch of that stuff. But there's so they go off into town. They're like, oh, we're gonna go see a movie, but that's not what they're gonna go do. So Anna's like, oh, it's just you and me, like at the house, Hugh, like just the two of us together. Do you want to like watch a movie or something? And he's like, no, I've got work to do. And Anne's like, okay.
Oh, right. He checks a text or something. He's hired a private investigator to look into David. Like you do when you're rich. And like, also Anne is writing a letter of at some point in this trip, at dinner, I think a little, like, either before or after Keith, Alex Pettifer is like, I decided I'm going to try to
go to
like,
University
go to
of Georgia or something.
Because, like, because he told his dad that he's, like, and he's never expressed an interest before, and he's like, wow, like, this is new, but, like, I'm proud of you.
Good
like,
job, son.
Let's do what we can do. And he's like, okay, thanks, Dad. I love you.
And then Anne's like, oh, I'll write you a letter of recommendation to, like, get you into some program. I don't know what he's going there for. I think just a general something. Because he's not really sure what he's doing yet. But he's going to school.
Probably, probably business or something to help him with
Maybe.
the shop. Because I think he's still going to do the mechanic deal.
So, yeah.
But
so Anne's like, I'm going to write you a letter of recommendation. Anne also wrote a book at one point, which, like, comes up a couple of times.
Oh, yeah, because Alex Pettifer, he hasn't read the book
But then
yet,
he reads
he's
it. And
I'm
like
not sure Alex Pettifer's read any books.
He reads it in like a day, and
my.
he's like, wow, it was such a great book. We don't know what this book is about until, like, the last 15 minutes of the movie when we see her in a coffee shop rearranging the book so hers is at the front.
It's funny. Yeah. It's like the writers of this movie didn't know what the original book was about either.
Yeah, they didn't know. But I think her book is called, like, Birthing Pain or Grief or something. So it's definitely a book about, like, her son dying. But, like, it's not addressed throughout the movie, and that could have been something that they did, but the writers didn't care.
Yeah. So then,
it's the party.
Oh, yeah. So he's hired a private investigator. He read the letter of recommendation. The kids are at the party, and they meet up with Mace, and he's like, we're going to go crash a zoo. Come on. So they go to crash a zoo.
Well, Alex Pettifer says first, he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. We're just going to stay at this party. But then Jade, being a little dum-dum, she's like, no, I want to go do this. And then Alex Pettifer is like, well, can't say no to that. Let's go.
So they end up having an amazing time. They they see an orangutan from far away, and like they have a real nice time.
Stinky.
Till the cops come.
The cops come because Alex Pettifer's ex-girlfriend Jenny is like a little jealous of Alex Pettifer and Jade. So she's like, you ruined my... I don't know if we mentioned this, but the graduation party was Jenny's that was ruined. That the cops came to. So she's like, I'm gonna get a little bit of revenge. And she's like, hi, some kids broke into the zoo, and then she leaves.
Yeah. And then, so then the dad, Hugh, he picks up Jade, but not Alex.
Oh, wait, no. Jade, like, runs home. Jade goes home. Okay.
Oh, she runs
home. This movie's all over the place. So the cops show up, and then everybody's like, scatter. But then Alex Pettifer is like, no, take Jade out of here. And then he runs in the opposite direction.
What?
So,
but if she got away...
if they all stuck together, they could have got out all together. So that happens, and then he gets arrested.
No, you guys seem really confused by that, but I'm not confused at all. I mean, this movie hasn't relied on logic in the past.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. I thought you were gonna bring a real thing, like, oh no,
It was a
created
distraction.
version
It's
that
like, no,
was-
this movie's just dumb.
Yeah. Okay, so then they're like, you gotta go save Alex Pettifer from jail, Dad. Like, you got to. So basically.
But then the dad's like, this won't be his first night in jail, and he slams a police report on the kitchen table.
Yeah, so the secret is, well, we'll reveal it in a second because they're like, so it turns out, so the dad does take it out because she agreed, like, I'll go to the internship, but you need to get him out of jail.
Like,
or something.
oh my god,
like
wait,
that.
we missed a whole chunk of, like, things that happened. Okay, so after the dinner scene
Oh
where...
no, we watched the wrong movie.
Oh, no.
Oh, beans.
Okay, no, but this is something important that is going to come up. So after the dinner scene where they're talking about Alex Pettifer going to University of Georgia, they have Dawn and her husband show up, and they're like, "Hi, we didn't know you were up at the lake house."
Oh, right, we did forget
And then
all
he's like,
about
"Oh,
this.
Dawn, it's good to see you." And then Anne like gives this knowing look, and she's like, "Well, I think I'm gonna go write that letter now." And then it cuts to the same evening where they're all like playing with like sparklers and they're shooting fireworks, and it's nice. And then Keith is like, "Oh, Alex Pettifer, can you go get some more sparklers? They're in the garage." And Alex Pettifer is like, "Yeah, sure." He goes into the garage, and he sees Hugh and Dawn having a smooch. Hugh has been having an affair this whole time.
Yeah.
And so then,
Yeah, I forgot about
and so
that.
then the next morning, Hugh was like, "Hey, Alex Pettifer, you and me, let's like take a boat ride into the lake." And so they go out onto the lake, and Hugh's he's not being super confrontational, but he's being like a little shady. He's just like,
Cause like, and like on this point, I was like on Alex Pettifer's side in this because like the basic rundown of the conversation is like for the first time in his life, Hugh is being nice to him because he knows about the affair, and he's like, "Look, I'm not gonna tell anybody, so like, can you stop this pretense? Like it's unnecessary, but I disapprove." And then Hugh is like, "Where do you get off talking to me like that? You don't know what you saw, blah blah." And it's like, you took me out on this
Yeah,
boat.
you know I know.
Unless your plan was to throw me over, there is no reason for you to invite me on this boat unless you think that I have some leg to stand on. So like, because Alex Pettifer's deal is like, just leave me alone. I don't want to interact with you. I think you're mean to me. And at first I thought at least you were a good husband and dad, but now I
turns
don't
out
even
you're
think
not.
that.
You're a real nasty man. So that's the catalyst for Hugh being like, "All right, I'm just gonna dig into your past a little bit since you're so invested in my life."
That's why. Yeah, even though he isn't, he just you weren't stealthy enough. That was the problem.
So that happens. So then, okay. So then Hugh goes to pick up Alex Pettifer from jail. And Alex Pettifer's like, "Oh boy, I'm happy to be out, but I really wish it wasn't you picking me up."
And then he's like, and then they have like, so then he's like, "She's going to the internship. You're never going to see her again. That's the deal.
Because you're a big
blah, blah. And then
dummy.
he's like,
You can't be with her because
And then-
she's so smart and you're so dumb.
and he starts like ripping into Alex
Not
Pettifer,
even Alex
like, "You're
Pettifer,
so-"
into his dad. He's like, "Your dad wasn't good enough for your mom. That's why she cheated on him."
Oh yeah, and like that's what's gonna happen to you and stuff like that. So then Alex Pettifer gets really mad and he punches Hugh, which like I don't condone violence.
Yes,
but then
you
these
do.
movies
Every
make
time
me-
we were watching this movie, you're
Well,
like, "You should get
movies
punched."
like this these movies make me think maybe I'm more violent than I thought before because I was like, man, that was the punch heard around the world. I was ready for this punch. Like, honestly.
Give him the old 1-2.
But-
I'm not familiar with this side of Zach's. I don't. It's not.
It comes out when we're watching bad movies.
It doesn't come out when I'm watching a bad movie with it.
Well, you don't really watch these kind of movies with
You're not.
me.
I don't think I've ever been watching a movie with you and you've been like, "Man, I could really throw fists right now." Like,
I didn't say I could. I just said I agree that he deserved to be punched. And I don't feel bad that he was punched. But then he goes home, and they're like, oh my gosh, Dad, what happened to you? And he's like, what do you think, that
He
monster
attacked
savage
me.
you've been seeing?
Which he didn't. He hit you once, and you fell down like a sack of potatoes.
That's an attack.
It's just one hit, though.
That's still an attack.
But like, okay, but
So,
he makes it off like the situation was worse than it was. He doesn't
really,
mention
the
that
way
he was
said
egging
it,
him on.
Yeah, he doesn't mention what he said about
All
his
he
dad.
said was like, I told him that you took the internship and he attacked me, which is very far from the truth.
Yeah, so then the next morning, he's at the diner with Mace being real sad boy.
It's real sad boy
And
hours.
he's like, well,
and Mace is trying to cheer him up.
then Mace, he called Jenny because he's like, just get back with your old girlfriend because we didn't have these complications when you were dating her, which is basically his whole stance the whole movie. And so he calls Jenny and she comes and she's like, Alex Pettifer, you don't need a girl like Jade. Girls like her would just think they're settling for guys like you. But girls like me, they know a good thing when they've got it. No, you cheated on him and that's why he broke up with you, Jenny. You didn't know you had a good thing.
They try to make it seem like this is an on and off again relationship, but like Alex Pettifer throughout the whole movie is so done with Jenny every time she's in the scene.
Yeah, and we realize, and we find out, and this is my problem with Jenny, because we find out that the reason why he went to jail the first time is because it was a domestic violence case. What happened was he walked in on his mom cheating on his dad with some other guy, and he beat the guy up really bad. He's just got anger management issues. So Jade didn't know that. He didn't tell Jade about that. Jenny knew that about him. He know that this is a big trigger for him, and she still cheated on him. Now, I'm not saying, like, you can't, like, forgive and forget and whatnot, but, like, Jenny knew, and she should know that this really hurt him personally. This is, like, the only character trait we know about this guy. And you betrayed him, and I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So...
Is that a Room reference?
Yeah, it was.
I'm fed up with this world. Don't touch me.
Mark.
Oh, hi, Mace.
Yeah, hi, Mace.
Oh my god. Okay, I wanna paint the scene for you. So Jenny and Alex Pettifer, they're sitting next to each other in a booth at a diner. Jenny's pretty close to him, but she's not like touching him lovingly. She's just sitting up next to him. She's looking at him. She's not looking at him in a loving way. She's just looking at him like, this is how it is, you know? It sucks, but, like, I'm here to be a friend for you right now. Not really. She has ulterior motives. She's like, I want to get back with you, but she's not making a move. Alex Pettifer, because he can make one facial expression, looks absolutely disgusted with Jenny. He's like, ew, you are so gross and nasty. Get away from me.
You mean one alternate facial expression. The other expression is smug.
Yeah. Just disgusted and smug. So he looks so pissed about this. You would not think that, like, they're gonna have a little smooch session based on how this scene looks. Well, Jade decides to roll up into the scene. She comes in, she sees them sitting, she sees how Alex Pettifer is looking at Jenny. They make eye contact. Alex Pettifer's like, no, Jade, wait. And Jade, again, running like a 12-year-old, leaves the diner and runs down the sidewalk. And then this next scene is so stupid. So I was like, Zach's gonna play this scene. I'm not gonna interrupt it. We're just gonna watch it full. So
the whole time we're watching, I was just, each time one of them said something, I was just like, what? No, wait, what?
They're saying, okay, so
they're talking past each other. They're having two different discussions.
So he's like, Jade, it's not what you think. And she turns around and she's like, well, that didn't take long, did it? We're like, what do you mean? He wasn't moving on. He looked disgusted. Disgusting. He wants nothing to do with Jenny. Read the room, Jade. So she's like, it didn't take long for you to move on, did it? And he's like, it's not what you think. And then she notices that he's icing his hand. She's like, oh my god, you did hit my dad. Oh my god, I can't believe you did that. And he's like, Jade, you don't know what it's like. She's like, what do you mean? Did he deserve it? What did he do? And then he's like, I can't tell you. And then Jade's like, she says something, and then he's like, oh, if you thought I was some perfect angel this whole time, I shouldn't stick around to disappoint you anymore. And he starts walking away. And then Jade, I'm gonna leave this part. I'm gonna leave this line to Zax because it's something.
So she's like, you don't fight for love. You're terrified of it. And like, which was so weird because he stopped you from walking away like 4 times. And you kept looking at him and like, no, you're bad because of A. And then he was like, no, but B and C.
Yeah, well, you're bad because of
give
D.
Me another chance. And like they kept going back and forth. He tried to fight for you, and then he literally threw his hands in the air.
And then she runs away again, like a 12-year-old. She gets in her car. I don't know what car it is. It looks like a Range Rover, but it probably isn't. It's just this big fat truck. She gets in her truck. She starts driving. She drives past Alex Pettifer. It's a shot of her driving the car, and then a shot of her going like, ugh, because she gets into a car accident. So she doesn't get hit by a car. A car hits her car.
Yes.
What the hell is this movie?
It's a nightmare.
I haven't. Okay, can I just skip to the end?
Like,
it's
okay.
almost the end.
Well, no. I'm just gonna skip to my concluding notes.
Okay.
Because I don't think anything that happens in the movie is going to make a difference.
I don't know.
No, because my concluding notes have no bearing on the plot.
Okay.
Because the plot doesn't matter.
Okay.
To my concluding notes, which is just that the fact that she's gone from younger than him and normal level of wealth to rich girl. Even this was my note back when in the first video that I wrote down. Rich girl changes implications. But it doesn't just change implications. According to what I've heard, it's changed all the explications too. Because not one thing has been the same.
No.
And not only has not one thing been the same, but not one thing could be the same, because the power dynamic between these two characters, who are supposed to be the focus of endless love,
Right.
has completely vanished. The power dynamic was, there's this slightly older guy who's also mentally ill, who's obsessed with this girl, and they have this tumultuous teen romance that is getting way out of hand, and he's getting more and more unhinged. All of that is thrown out the window, and it's all fundamentally due to, I think, in this case, they've decided to ignore the mental health thing, which, honestly, I don't trust them to handle correctly, so that's fine. But the more important one they've changed is they've made her into a rich ice queen instead of a normal human. And that fundamentally, like, even if you tried to fit it to the plot of the original, the fact that she's rich changes the power dynamic completely. Even if everything else was exactly the same,
just her being this
rich people don't interact with the rest of the world the way that the rest of us do.
Yeah, well, that's a good segue. I'm gonna because we're back, we're at the final third of the movie. There's half an hour left of the movie, and I'm gonna just rush through it. Hour,
not a lot happens. It's just dragged on so long.
So here's the cliff notes. The too long didn't read for this. The dad is like, I lost a son. I'm not going to lose a daughter. Not because of the likes of you. I'm filing a restraining order. The dad is like, hey, come on, don't ruin my son's life. And then Hugh is like, I don't care about your sad life and your sad son. Get out of here.
If he says one more unkind thing about my son.
So then they go home. They're having a barbecue. Jenny and Mace are there. He's hanging out with his friends, and he's trying to forget about this sad life. Well, the dad is like, look, I'm sorry, but I have to intervene now. I approved of your relationship, but this is a restraining order. This is some serious tea. We're not here for it. Jade comes by the house, and she knocks on the door, and she's like, I just want to say goodbye to him before I leave. And he's like, no,
go away.
Come on, don't do that to him. He needs to get over you. Go start your life. Your dad doesn't want you together, and like I approve of you. You seem like a nice kid, but this is too much for us.
Much drama.
We're a little family. He's gonna come after my shop, and that's literally like all we have. Go live with your millions. Goodbye. So montage of him.
He's sad in therapy.
He goes to one therapy session, and she's basically just like, try to move on, and if you guys were meant to be together, maybe you'll get back together, but, you
For
know...
now, just try and, like, live your life. Try to, like, socialize, meet with your friends, get outside.
So he tries... And then he tries to, I guess he gets back together with Jenny because she's like topless in his bed, but he's looking at himself
fully
in the mirror,
dressed, like looking at himself in the mirror, just like, whoa,
like,
God.
Like, he looks at himself like, look at how far you sunk. You disgust
But again, she's like,
and, like
undressed. He's fully dressed. The bed like doesn't seem like it's been messed up in any way. So I think like they were going to, but then he's like, no, I can't. I'm betraying her. And then Jenny's like, well, guess I'm just gonna go home then.
Yeah. So then Jade, she's living her
Jade has
life
fully
at
moved
the
on at this point.
pre-med.
Her being like, this dude. She's like, that didn't take long, did it? And then she moves on the second she gets to Brown.
And she's dating this guy, and it's very clear, like, he's talking about, like, medicine and whatever. She looks so bored, and clearly he doesn't thrill her like David did. Fast forward a bit, David runs in to Anne, the mom, and they talk a bit, and he asked about Jade, and we find out that she's coming in town for Christmas. And so he's like, please, I just want to see her one last time. Like, just arrange it, please. And she's like, can't help but arrange it. So then then we're in the car back. They're gonna pick Jade up from the airport, and Hugh is driving, and he's like, oh, I can't wait to see my daughter. And then Anne looks at him, and she's like, you ruined David's life. And he's like, why are you bringing up David?
You forgot something. She starts the conversation by being like, David didn't get into University of Georgia. And he's like, oh, that's weird. She's like, yeah, so I like called Helen, who's like the person she was sending the letter to. She's like, I called about the letter, and she said she never got it. That's weird, isn't it? And he was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty weird. I sent it out with the mail. And then Anne's like, you snake. You absolute snake.
She's like, don't lie to me. She knows. But then he's like, wait, why are you bringing up David now? She's like, because I saw him and he's sad. You didn't tell him Jade was coming, did you? Of course he asked about Jade. You didn't tell him,
she's
did
like,
you? She's like, tee-hee. So he leaves the car, doesn't park the car. He runs
like the car's
out,
idling right now.
Yeah. Like, so then just leaves his wife there. Hope she makes it.
Then Anne gets out of the car and she's like, Hugh, listen to me. The way you behave now is going to dictate the rest of our lives. If you don't stop acting a fool, I am filing divorce papers, all right? Get your life together. Leave this poor kid alone. And then he was like, Anne, I don't even like you. And then he leaves.
He runs in, and he sees Alex Pettifer, and then Alex Pettifer sees him, so he runs, and now he's running, and he was trying to get past security back to the plane. I guess Alex bought a ticket, even though he's not going anywhere, but that's really expensive, so he loves this girl. So he gets in, and he sees Anne, and he, like, grabs her, and she's like, what are you doing if my dad sees you?
Oh, wait, here's what happened first, though. So he, like, pulls her around the corner, and Jade sees him, and she's like, oh my god. Jade fully has a boyfriend at this point, and she just starts, like, making out with him. And then she's like, oh my god, we shouldn't. And I'm like, you fool! You idiot!
Yeah. So they make plans to, like, meet up and hang out, and he's like, okay, but, like, we'll keep it, like, on the DL as much as we have to, blah, blah, blah. But, like, and then she goes, and Hugh is talking to, like, a TSA, like, he has a restraining order against her, he's in there, like, you need to arrest him, kill him if you have to, I don't care, get him out of here. But then Jade comes, she's like, hey, Dad, why are you being a weirdo? Let's
Dad,
go.
chill, like, let's go.
So that He's like, oh, okay, are you good? And he's like, maybe he didn't see her. Maybe he assumes that he saw her first, basically. So they go home.
Chris's car is not parked where it usually is.
Yeah. So then they see, like, it's been moved. They go upstairs, and Keith is listening to Chris's records with Sabine, and they're just having a nice time. They lit some candles. They're just, like, enjoying their lives. And he's like, oh, then he sees, like, one of the records isn't back in its sleeve, and he's like, you're supposed to put it in the sleeve right away. Look, you scratched it. And he's like,
well, Chris isn't. He wouldn't love us to like still listen to his
Like
music.
Chris would
and,
like us to pretend,
would,
like not to pretend, but like to appreciate his stuff, you know? And then
like yeah, like still he want basically like a few times Keith has said like Chris would have wanted us to keep on living.
he'd want
basically.
us to be happy.
Uh,
But then he
then
was like, he's not here to ask if you can touch his stuff. And then Keith's like, I'm out. And Sabine's like, yes, ditto. See ya.
yeah, so she leaves and like
Can I
Chris,
just say, if Chris wanted us to be happy, he wouldn't have let them make this movie.
Yeah. This is all Chris's
he don't
fault.
care if we're happy. So they're running out, and the mom is like, wait, what's happening? He's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm sick of Dad. He's driving me crazy. I can't with him anymore. So he runs to the car, and then Sabine's like, I'm
Sabine's
sorry.
house.
I know this is like an awkward Christmas dinner. Thank you for inviting me, but I have to go support my Keith because I love him, and he's good. So we're going to go run away. He's like dragging me by my hand. Bye. And
They're
then
just going to
the
like
mom
Sabine's
rushes
house for
out.
the night to just like go and chill.
Yeah. So then the mom starts leaving, and then he was like, where are you going? And he's like, to be with my son. I'm sick of you. And then I was like, Jade, come on, hon. This is your chance. You need to go, girl. And then she does it. She stays with her dad, but she goes upstairs and she like, Dad, you're pushing literally everyone away for Chris's
Me
stuff.
included.
Like, but then he notices that David is in their parking lot. And he's like,
Their
"What?"
parking lot, not their
He
driveway,
knows where
their
you
parking
are.
lot.
They're really rich. He's there, just standing there. And she's like, yes, he's here. Like, I still love him. You can't keep us apart,
My
Dad.
whole
And
life,
he's like,
you've been telling me I need to choose, which, like, was not part of the story at all. But she's like, all my
He's
life,
very
you
clear
told me to
that,
choose,
like, I
and now I'm
chose.
choosing. I choose David, like it's The Bachelor.
yeah. And so she runs out, and he's like, no. And he
He
runs
grabs
out.
a baseball bat.
Yeah, he is. So he rushes out, and he kicks over a candle, and now it's all burning down. But they're outside. He's about to hit it, but they see like all the smoke coming, and it's coming from Chris's room. So the dad runs back in because he's like, no, not my son. He's trying to grab things. And then David runs after him because he's like, this idiot's going to die. Oh my gosh. Then I'm going to have to hear about it from Jade. Oh, this is going to be horrible.
It's going to be so
He
awkward
runs
at the
in after
wake.
him. Yeah, and then the dad, Hugh is like, come on, grab everything you can. We have to get his stuff. But, like, it's
But
fine.
then
And,
Alex
like,
Pettifer
David's
is
like,
like,
all right.
okay,
And
I'm going to break the window.
But then, well, yeah, he's being really, like, he opens the window because he's like, I can't see because of all the smoke. So he, like, opens the window, like, to clear the smoke out so that he can continue grabbing stuff. But it's like,
then there's an
"Hon,
explosion."
the place is burning down. Leave the movie. Leave the room alone. Grab what you can and let's leave.
Get outta here.
Who cares what you grab?
Grab
So
a
then-
photo
but then-
album and get out of there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who's doing what? You guys are talking so fast,
Okay,
and I'm like,
so Hugh is frantically grabbing Chris's things from his room because he's
okay,
trying
I
to save
understand
them.
why. Yeah, and then he opens the window.
Alex Pettifer opens the
window because it's too smoky in this room that is burning down.
But Alex Pettifer's not just leaving.
No,
No,
he's like, I have to save Hugh.
His plan
No, I
is-
understand saving Hugh. Why isn't he just like fireman carrying Hugh out of there?
It's Alex Pettifer and he doesn't know.
Because Hugh said, "Come on, grab what you can. We have to save what we can."
Okay,
so then
and then at that
Pettifer
point,
opens-
Alex Pettifer should just shoulder check him in the stomach, and then lift him
No,
up over his shoulder. Bruce Greenwood, I'm sorry, we're leaving.
That's what he should have done.
No.
But he didn't.
he opens the window because it's too smoky, and he needs to help him gather his dead son's
But
things.
then-
No, I know Hugh thinks he needs to, but Alex Pettifer does not have a son
agrees.
who's dead.
Alex Pettifer opens the window because it's too smoky, and he needs to help Bruce Greenfield
No, he
gather his
doesn't.
dead
But then
son's
His name is
things.
Bruce Greenwood, and
But then
no.
there's an explosion. I don't know, like, what happened. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know if, like, the lack of oxygen. Well, no, you need oxygen to have a
Okay.
fire.
No, okay, so that's a thing that happens in fires. I'm trying to remember what the term is for it, but basically, the heat sucks in all this extra air, and then, like, it'll blow out windows. Why do houses explode?
Okay, I think that's what happened. I think it was like the pressure made the
then-
window explode, and then like bits of the window hit Alex Pettifer, and then he passes out.
So now things.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's super duper dangerous, and even without, like, a gas leak or anything, like, it's super dangerous, and he would probably just die.
Yeah, so he's like, we need to
So
leave.
it blows them. Yeah, so he was like, we need to leave. But Alex Pettyfer's passed out, and he's holding his dead son's things, and it's like, and he looks at both of them like it is still a choice he's making to drop the things to get Alex Pettyfer, but he drops them and he tries to get him.
That's the term.
Okay, so backdraft.
So then
By the way, there's this really good slow-mo guys video from a year ago of a 4K slow motion backdraft. I'm not normally a big fan of the slow-mo guys. Not that they're bad. It's
not your content.
Not my thing. But they did a really good video on on backdrafts. They explained how it happens, and they showed the dangers of it. It's like with firefighters all there, and it's very good.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then he's like, but then it looks like he tries to save him, but then like some wood falls and like blocks their view a little bit. He's access to Alex Pettyfer, so it looks like he's just about to bail. And I was like, well, I guess he did try.
Oh, well, I
Bye.
guess the
But then
movie
it turns
doesn't
out
end with them getting together, just like in the original. That would have been something interesting, but no.
Wait, they end together?
Hugh comes back with a wooden chair or something, and he breaks the wood down, and he grabs Alex Pettyfer, and he saves him, and they go downstairs.
They both escape alive.
And they're all safe.
And the
and they're
firefighters
alive.
are out there. It's chaos. Jade is now back, and she's crying, and she's really annoying when she cries, because the whole time she's like, Dad, David. I'm like, okay, all right.
It was very
really
weird.
annoying.
She didn't know who to sob over. So now
You really know the
fire-
movie's lost you when you lose sympathy for people who nearly lost their lives.
The characters are so unlikable, and the ones that are likable aren't in the scene, so I can't be sympathetic.
Yeah. So then, fast forward, the family is visiting the dead son's grave, and we were like, oh, maybe we can finally see where he dies. No, they didn't even have a budget for a fake tombstone. It was really like sad. So
Jade is gonna head back to Brown, and she's talking with her mom, and through that conversation, we learned that Anne and Hugh have separated, which, like, at least that's faithful to the original book. It's like, okay, because they really shouldn't have been together. It's kind of sad, too, because, like, Anne is saying, she's like, you know, like, I still love him, but, like, I think we really need this time apart, and, you know, maybe we'll find our way back, but, like, for now, I just need to take some time to myself. And I'm like, this is like the most like grown up and mature the movie was, and I'm glad that they like included that at the very least, but then the rest of the movie is just garbage.
Yeah. So then she's like, but you've punished your dad enough. Like, let him drive you back to the airport. And she's like, oh, but I don't wanna. She's like, please, for me. Like, honestly, Jade, you've been like a real pill lately, and like I need.
You have ruined our summer. We have no house. Like, our house is like still under renovation from the fire damage. Please, just like get away from me.
So she lets her dad drive her to the airport, and they have a talk, and this is finally the most like normal the dad's in the whole movie. He's like, so like, I love you, and I'm always there for you, or even like whenever you need me, I'm there, or if you don't need me,
I get
like,
it.
it's fine too. Like, he's like I'll give you the space you need to like let me back in, but like I'm always gonna be right there for you no matter what. Like, I love you, which technically has been true the whole movie. He's been very, very misguided in a lot of his decisions, but he did love his daughter and pretty much nobody else. He didn't love Keith. He didn't love his wife. Probably didn't love Dawn.
He was just hanging out with Dawn because he was.
He loved all that dead son stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He loved Jade and his first son because they didn't
he liked the stuff. He doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the son.
So then she goes to the airport.
They have like a nice hug goodbye.
Yeah.
And then
I'm pretty sure every hug Bruce Greenwood gives
is nice. Yeah, I'd let him hug me. But yeah, and then, oh no, Alex Pettyfer's at the airport. They're not going back to Brown. They're going somewhere for the weekend.
What?
Yeah.
And then I don't know where they go, somewhere, California maybe, I don't know. And Jade's like, oh my god.
Let's hope hell.
They meet up with Keith and Sabine, and it turns out that they eloped at the corpse house. And then Jade's like, Mom's gonna be so mad. He's like, well, we'll just do it again.
Not caring about Dad anymore. Just Mom's gonna be so pissed she wasn't at your wedding.
Yeah. So then they do get married again, and they're like the best man and maid of honor at Keith and Sabine's wedding. And does anything else happen, or is that where we end
so the
it?
movie ends with like this really awful line delivery. So it's like Jade and Alex, they're like on a beach, and Jade is monologuing about like, oh, love is so great, and she's again the way she delivers the lines. The line is, "Oh, I'm so glad I found the type of love that you fight for, the type of boy that you fight for." But the way she delivers the line, the emphasis should be on the lines, the type of love, the boy. But she goes, "The type of love you fight for, the type of boy you fight for," and then the movie ends.
I kind of get that emphasis.
You fight for, but it's like you're saying those are the things that you
The type of love that you fight for, not the type of love that you don't have to fight for.
like it's just I hate her acting so much. And then the movie is
I mean,
over.
as opposed to the type of love that you fight for, as opposed to what? The type of hate that you
I
fight
don't
for?
know. It just sounded really awkward. And then finally the movie ends.
I'm guessing probably your problem was with, she didn't emphasize either of those words. She probably emphasized the type of love that you fight for.
No, it was you fight for. I'm like, okay, let's just roll credits, please.
So we do roll credits, and that is Endless
Really?
Love,
It's not just
the
a list
weird-
of Alan Smithies?
Alex
the
Pettiford.
weird,
Alex
the
Pettiford.
weird. So that is Endless Love, the weird AU fan fiction that nobody asked for. You heard it here
Good
first.
news, though, this
6
movie
years
was also
later.
critically panned.
We're not here for the tea here, and I think that this just made me think of the main reason why I like A Walk to Remember more than pretty much all the other ones is because I know Landon and Jamie, and I cared about them, and I liked when they crossed things off her list. That was a good montage, and it furthered their love, and this did nothing for
This was
me.
just
What are you,
Not
who
here
are you
for it.
talking about?
another good movie.
A Walk to Remember. You haven't seen A Walk to Remember.
Well, everybody.
You never played Pokemon, so I guess we both missed out.
All right, well, everyone, it's been a real time.
So, thank you guys so much for being here to talk with me about it. And thank you to all you guys for listening. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe because we all need friends. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.